Alright, I'm going to try to keep this video to 4 minutes because I could go on and on about this. This is Draymond Green, the most overrated player in the NBA. Why do I say that? Because he's not a dominant player. And there's people that have the nerve to say he's a future Hall of Famer. He doesn't even deserve to be an All-Star. Because when you look at him honestly. He's an average player who he hustles, he tries to be the glue guy. That's a credit to him. And he kicks people in the nuts. That's why people know him. He's that crazy dude who kicks people in the nuts, who runs around and hustles for the Golden State Warriors. And as a result, you have people saying he's a future Hall of Famer. He deserves to be an All-Star. That is absolute insanity. A Hall of Famer is a player who is dominant. When you look at a Hall of Famer, there's no debate, there's no question. You're looking at a player who absolutely dominated when he stepped on the court. Now, for you idiots who think he's a Hall of Famer, what are you looking at? When he's on the court, you look at him and say, he's the dominant player on the court. He's dominant. Smack yourself. No, he's not dominant. You got a guy named Steph Curry. You got a guy named Klay Thompson. And now you got a guy named Kevin Durant. Now, if you watch them three play, is there a difference when you watch Kevin Durant and Draymond Green? I hope you see the difference. One's a dominant player and one's not. That's the difference between a Hall of Famer and just an average player who gives it his all. So I'm just sick and tired of hearing this nonsense. This dude is so overrated. And I tell you this much. Real NBA fans know that the guy's overrated. Now you look at his career numbers here, and it's laughable. Because this guy's supposed to be a Hall of Famer, and it's laughable. But once again, I want you to go online, look up NBA Hall of Famers, and I want you to clearly see the difference between a player that was dominant. When he stepped on the court, he was the dominant player. He wasn't an average player. He wasn't a glue guy. He wasn't kicking people in the nuts. He was the dominant player, and everyone knew it. This guy's not the dominant player. Now, good for him for being fortunate to go to the Warriors, playing with those players. Good for him that he gives it his best and kicks people in the nuts. But this attention needs to stop. It's ludicrous. It makes no sense. So let's just settle this. He's not a Hall of Famer, period. He's not a dominant player. He shouldn't be an All-Star, period, because he's not an All-Star. You don't watch him play and think, gee whiz, he's the best player on the Warriors. He's the second best player on the Warriors. He's the third best player on the Warriors. You just think that dude's the fourth best player on the team, and he's just an average player. Like I said, if you put him on any other team, you wouldn't even talk about him. You wouldn't even know who the guy was unless he was kicking people in the nuts. If he played for the Philadelphia 76ers, for example, would you be talking about him? No, you wouldn't. Why? Because he wouldn't have Steph Curry and Klay Thompson winning games. He wouldn't have Kevin Durant now winning games. He would be alone with some other players who were just average, and you wouldn't even hear him. So anyway, he's not a Hall of Famer. He shouldn't be an All-Star. He's the most overrated player in the NBA, and that's final.